Welcome to ENT student for discussion on rare cancers of head and neck. So if you do not expect the unexpected, that is the rare things, you will not find it. So you have to expect the rare things, for it is hard to be sought and difficult. It is all said by the Heraclitus, and we are going to discuss about the neuroectodermal malignancies of the head and neck.
Introduction. Sinonasal undifferentiated carcinoma, olfactory neuroblastoma, neuroendocrine carcinoma form a spectrum of rare malignancies of neuroectodermal origin. The rarity of these tumors precludes any prospective trials, and reports in the literature of management have been limited to retrospective single institution series.
So as we could see here, number 1 is sinonasal undifferentiated carcinoma, number 2 is olfactory neuroblastoma, number 3 will be neuroectodermal carcinoma. So neuroectodermal carcinoma, all the three things are a bit rare, but they form a spectrum of neuroectodermal origin. Their origin is neuroectodermal and they are very rare, therefore difficult to have case series on this.
These tumors are therefore best managed in specialized centers with treatment options largely dictated by local expertise and patient choice. SNUC and NEC are aggressive tumors which require a multimodality approach with surgery, radiotherapy and chemotherapy, whereas early stage ONB may be treated with local therapy.
Local expertise and patient choice are important in management of these tumors because very rare and only few centers are handling these, especially sinonasal carcinoma and then this neuroectodermal carcinoma. These are very aggressive and require multimodality approach, not only surgery, number 1, number 2 is the radiotherapy, number 3rd one is the chemotherapy that we want. But contrast to this, olfactory neuroblastoma, which is arising from the roof of the nasal cavity, can be treated with local therapy itself. Olfactory neuroblastoma can be treated with local therapy itself. So now we are going to deal about sinonasal undifferentiated carcinoma. So it is, the name itself is saying it is a sinonasal, especially related to nasal cavity and sinuses. Undifferentiated, it is not at all differentiated, differentiation is not seen, and it is a carcinoma. You can call it as sinonasal undifferentiated carcinoma, SNUC.
Sinonasal undifferentiated carcinoma was first described by Friesen in 1986. The clinical pathological entity arising from the Schneiderian epithelium or from the nasal ectoderm of the paranasal sinuses. Reports in the literature are emerging since its recognition as a distinct entity. However, the true incidence is not known with fewer than 100 reported cases.
So this SNUC, already named as sinonasal undifferentiated carcinoma, undifferentiated variety, described by Frierson in 1986. It originates from the Schneiderian membrane, that is the nasal membrane is called as Schneiderian epithelium, like the inverted papilloma, like Schneiderian membrane, or number 1 is Schneiderian membrane, or number 2 is nasal ectoderm. It is an ectoderm of the paranasal sinuses. So it is arising from number 1 is nose or number 2 is paranasal sinuses, Schneiderian membrane or nasal ectoderm of PNS. So it is a special entity nowadays and only 100 cases nearly are reported. So we have to keep in mind about the rarity.
The majority arise from the nasal cavity, with the remaining cases originating from the maxillary and ethmoid sinuses. The age range is broad, with bimodal distribution affecting young adults and the elderly. The median age of presentation of 50 years, range 20 to 77 years, has been reported.
Number 1 nasal cavity, number 2 maxillary or ethmoidal sinuses. The origin of this sinonasal undifferentiated carcinoma, as we have seen, and then like other tumors like olfactory neuroblastoma, this also has got a bimodal distribution, young adults and elderly. So young adults is number 1 distribution, number 2 is elderly, older people. Median age is like 50 years, 20 years can be there, 77 can be there. So it is a bimodal distribution. 2 peaks will be there in the age distribution.
Clinical features. SNUC commonly presents with locally advanced features with its propensity to aggressively invade local structures such as orbit, cranial cavity, nasopharynx, sphenoid, frontal sinuses. Symptoms and signs characteristically a short period of weeks to a few months in keeping with its locally aggressive behavior.
Sinonasal undifferentiated carcinoma, again, once again with a locally advanced features and invade the local structures, nearby structures, like for example, if it is coming from the nose or paranasal sinuses, for example, it can invade the orbit, it can go towards the orbit, number one. Number two, it can go to the cranial cavity, or it can go backwards towards the nasopharynx, or it can go towards the sphenoid sinuses, or it can go towards the frontal sinuses. So frontal sinuses and sphenoid sinuses. Nearby structures like sphenoid and frontal sinuses, a bit farther structure like nasopharynx, and paracranial like orbit and cranial cavity. So sinonasal carcinoma of undifferentiated carcinoma can go anywhere towards this, and they present over a short period, very aggressive, very fast growing tumor. It's a very fast growing tumor.
Clinical features of SNUC: nasal obstruction, epistaxis, proptosis, periorbital discomfort with swelling, diplopia, and other cranial nerve palsies, locoregional nodal involvement and distant metastasis, particularly to the lungs and the bone, up to 30%.
Once again, this SNUC, because it is coming in the nose, nasal obstruction, epistaxis are more common, and spreading into the orbit leads to proptosis and periorbital discomfort. So periorbital discomfort and eyes coming forward, proptosis, and swelling, diplopia, and other cranial nerve palsies. So skull base involvement leads to cranial nerve palsies. Locoregional nodal involvement can be there, and distant metastasis can be there. So like in lung and bone are the common sites, almost 30% distant metastasis are there. 30% of the cases, distant metastasis are there.
Pathology: light microscopy can differentiate most cases of SNUC from other undifferentiated tumors, but immunohistochemistry and electron microscopy can be helpful to confirm the diagnosis. Features seen on light microscopy: small to medium-sized undifferentiated cells showing significant pleomorphism, a high nuclear cytoplasmic ratio and moderate eosinophilic cytoplasm. Cells are classically arranged in nests, trabeculae or sheets. Large ovoid nuclei with numerous mitotic figures. Extensive vascular invasion and necrosis can also be prominent features.
As we know, we have to go for light microscopy number one. And how do you differentiate SNUC from other undifferentiated cancers is by immunohistochemistry and electron microscopy. This IHC studies is very important, and electron microscopy is also very important. Immunohistochemistry studies and electron microscopy studies are important as far as this sinonasal carcinoma is concerned. Of course, any other carcinoma also. What are the features seen in light microscopy are: the cells may be small or medium sized. They are undifferentiated, showing significant pleomorphism, different forms and shape. Pleomorphism is like any other cancer, they are specially undifferentiated. Nucleocytoplasmic ratio is high as in any other cancer, and moderate eosinophilic cytoplasm. They have got eosinophilia, like pinkish eosinophilic cytoplasm. They have got eosinophilic cytoplasm. They are arranged as nests, trabeculae and sheets. Nests, trabeculae and sheets. Large ovoid nuclei. Ovoid nuclei will be there with numerous mitotic figures. Of course, mitotic figures are a feature of any other cancers. So large ovoid, the nucleus is the large ovoid shaped nucleus. Ovoid shaped nuclei are present, and extensive vascular invasion and necrosis. Because vascular invasion is there, it can spread to other parts of the body like lung, liver and bone. This LLB is more common, lung, liver and bone, because of this vascular invasion and necrosis.
SNUC stains positive for keratin and epithelial membrane antigen (EMA). Some cases show neuroendocrine differentiation. Neuron-specific enolase (NSE) and CD99 are often expressed, but chromogranin, synaptophysin, S100, and Vimentin markers are usually negative. SNUCs are typically negative Epstein-Barr virus on immunohistochemistry.
As we are taking sinonasal carcinoma, this particular undifferentiated carcinoma, it is positive for keratin. Number one, keratin, like as in the case of squamous cell carcinoma, and epithelial membrane antigen. positive for keratin and epithelial membrane antigen. Some of them show the neuroendocrine differentiation. Neuroendocrine differentiation is also there in some, like neuron specific kinolase. Neuroendocrine differentiation like neuron specific kinolase and CD99. Neuron specific kinolase and CD99 also seen. But chromogranin, synaptophysin, S100 and vimentin are all negative. Chromogranin, synaptophysin, S100 and vimentin. These are all the markers which are all negative. Chromogranin, synaptophysin, S100 and vimentin are all negative. And they are also typically negative for Epstein-Barr virus or on immunohistochemistry. There is no evidence of Epstein-Barr virus on immunohistochemistry. You should keep it in mind, because otherwise it can be associated with nasopharyngeal carcinoma also. So that comes in the particular differential diagnosis.
Differential diagnosis. Given the lack of differentiation seen with SNUC, the differential diagnosis can be very broad and includes ONV, lymphoma, embryonal rhabdomyosarcoma, melanoma, nasopharyngeal carcinoma, small cell carcinoma.
So we are going to deal all those things. Of course, olfactory neuroblastoma is not so given the lack of differentiation. So undifferentiated, the name itself says SNUC, undifferentiated. The lack of differentiation is an important factor. But it can be differentiated by means of differential diagnosis are like olfactory neuroblastoma. Number 2 is lymphoma. Number 3 is embryonal rhabdomyosarcoma, wherein because vimentin is negative in that and here it is positive. And melanoma, it can be differentiated. Number 5 is nasopharyngeal carcinoma. As I already told, nasopharyngeal carcinoma, lymphoepithelioma. So nasopharyngeal carcinoma, Epstein-Barr virus is present in this. Of course, in this sinonasal carcinoma, the undifferentiated carcinoma, Epstein-Barr virus is not there. And sixth one is small cell carcinoma. In these rare tumors, we are going to see most of these things.
SNUC versus ONV. It is crucial to differentiate SNUC from ONV because natural history, treatment and prognosis differ greatly. SNUC is characteristically locally aggressive, associated with poor prognosis, whereas ONV generally has a slower natural history.
So as you should understand the difference between these two. So this is the epithelium from where it is going to form, where is the epithelium of the olfactory tract at that particular point, roof of the nose. And SNUC, as we have already seen, it is going to form from the ectoderm of this paranasal sinuses or nasal cavity. You have to differentiate this SNUC from ONV because the natural history, number 1, number 2 is treatment, number 3 prognosis, all are different. SNUC is a locally aggressive one and poor prognosis. If someone gets SNUC, it is a bad thing. Someone gets olfactory neuroblastoma, it's okay. So you can manage because it is a very slow growing tumor and natural history is very slow. So SNUC is a worse disease than olfactory neuroblastoma.
Investigations. Initial assessment of a sinonasal mass routinely includes nasoendoscopy, examination under anesthesia, biopsy.
So as we know, DNA you will be doing, and then number 2 examination under anesthesia, third one is biopsy.
Imaging. Computer tomography scan, which commonly shows a non-calcified mass arising either from the nasal cavity or paranasal sinuses. Local bone destruction and invasion of adjacent structures such as orbit, anterior cranial cavity or nasopharynx. A magnetic resonance scan with gadolinium contrast is also frequently undertaken to complement the CT scan and complete local staging.
We know that CT scan is very important for paranasal sinuses. The non-calcified mass, calcification is not there either in the nasal cavity or paranasal sinuses. So this SNUC can go from nasal cavity or paranasal sinuses. Calcification is not there. And then local bone destruction and invasion of adjacent structure. We have seen that it spreads to orbit, it can spread to anterior cranial cavity or it can spread to nasopharynx. So you should see bone destruction and invasion of the nearby structures. And MRI scan with gadolinium is also very helpful. It complements the CT scan to complete the local staging. So soft tissue involvement can be seen better in the case of MRI, as we already know.
MRI gadolinium. It characteristically shows heterogeneous gadolinium enhancement of the tumor with a superior soft tissue resolution compared with the CT scan, which in contrast provides superior bone delineation.
Once again, known point, CT scan helps in bone delineation and heterogeneous enhancement of the tumor in the case of gadolinium MRI. it gives very good soft tissue resolution. So gadolinium MRI is one of the important investigation of choice for this sinonasal carcinoma undifferentiated. Sinonasal carcinoma undifferentiated MRI gadolinium, like in the case of acoustic neuroma, we have to go for this one.
Management. SNUC is a locally destructive tumor and therefore is often found to be unresectable at presentation. A radical approach to treatment involves the combined modalities of surgery, craniofacial resection, radiotherapy, and chemotherapy. Craniofacial resection, an en bloc resection of the tumor, cribriform plate, any intracranial extension.
As we have already seen, it is a locally destructive tumor. It destroys structures in and around, like skull base and orbit, etc. It is mostly unresectable at presentation. You cannot resect it that easily. If you are resecting, it is a radical one only. So how do you combine it? Number 1, surgery. Number 2, radiotherapy. Number 3 is chemotherapy, is all known. Surgery is the craniofacial resection. You have to go for craniofacial resection. That is craniofacial resection. You have to resect the tumor, number 1. Number 2 is cribriform plate. Number 3 is intracranial extension. As you could see, so you have to remove this cribriform plate, the tumor, and also intracranial. If any brain extension is there, that you have to remove all these 3 structures. So this is called as craniofacial resection, CFR.
However, the aims of treatment are realistically to control disease. Other approaches have been to give neoadjuvant radiotherapy followed by surgery or concurrent chemotherapy in those which are not resectable. The role of adjuvant chemotherapy is unclear. In view of its rarity, the optimal sequence of treatment has yet to be established.
So think realistically and go for neoadjuvant radiotherapy or neoadjuvant chemotherapy, that even before the surgery you have to go, and then followed by surgery. You have to go for surgery later on. Or concurrent CCRT, concurrent chemoradiotherapy, is also going on as a trial for those unresectable tumors. And adjuvant chemotherapy is always a doubtful, it's not very much clear. Go for NAC or CCRT. And optimal sequence is yet to be designed.
Chen et al. Recently reported one of the largest series of SNUC, 21 patients treated in a single institution. The majority of the patients had T4 disease. 17 patients were treated with surgery followed by post-operative radiotherapy with or without adjuvant chemotherapy. 2 patients received neoadjuvant chemotherapy followed by surgery, and 2 patients received definitive chemotherapy alone.
So according to this trial, most of the diseases were T4, and they were treated with number 1 surgery followed by port with or without adjuvant chemotherapy. So all the 3 modalities are used in this study. And then 2 patients, they had initial chemoradiotherapy, neoadjuvant. Even before the surgery, they had initial chemoradiotherapy and then followed by surgery. So we received definitive and 2 received definitive chemoradiotherapy. This is a study that was done, of course.
5-year overall survival was 43% and 2-year local control rate was 60%. No difference in local control was seen between the treatment approaches, but it was observed among the patients who underwent surgery that local control was significantly better in those who had gross tumor resection compared to those with a subtotal resection. 2-year local control 77 versus 24% respectively. P is equal to 0.001.
Accordingly, surgery is a must and it is better option. According to all the studies, surgery has to be done. So whether you are going for radiotherapy or not, post-operative radiotherapy or chemotherapy, etc., surgery is a must. So which is giving a better outcome.
However, in view of the small size study, this did not translate to a survival difference between the group. The median dose of radiotherapy given was 60 grays in those treated with definitive chemoradiotherapy and 57 days in those given post-operative radiotherapy. Chemotherapy regimens used varied. Cyclophosphamide, doxorubicin and vincristine given in 5 patients, cisplatin and etoposide in 4 patients, cisplatin and 5-fluorouracil in 2 patients, carboplatin and etoposide in 1 patient, and cisplatin alone in 1 patient.
So various drugs. Without chemotherapy, you have to go for 60 grays, and with chemotherapy, you can go for 57 grays. So regimens including cyclophosphamide, doxorubicin, vincristine, cisplatin, etoposide, 5-fluorouracil, carboplatin, and then cisplatin alone. Various modalities were tried.
The investigators concluded that gross tumor resection was the only factor which demonstrated a significant benefit in local control. and therefore aggressive surgical resection either upfront or after neoadjuvant therapy in those with initially unresectable tumors should be the main objective of treating non-metastatic SNOC.
Gross tumor resection is a must. We need to go for surgery and to benefit for the local control. So aggressive surgical resection is a must, whether you give neoadjuvant chemotherapy or any other chemotherapy, and there should be a main objective of treating non-metastatic. If the metastasis is not there, surgery is a treatment of choice. Surgery is a treatment of choice. Very important. You have to go for surgery.
A further recent series reported that surgery combined with radiotherapy, either given preoperatively or postoperatively, demonstrated the highest local regional control. Of the 15 patients, 9 were treated with surgery and radiotherapy, 2 patients received preoperative radiotherapy with concurrent cisplatin, 7 patients received postoperative radiotherapy, demonstrating a 3-year local regional control rate of 78%.
So along with surgery, if you are combining radiotherapy, it's a good thing. Whether you can give preoperatively or postoperatively, it has given highest local regional control. And in some patients wherein surgery and radiotherapy were given, so we can give preoperative radiotherapy or concurrent cisplatin CCRT and demonstrating a very good control rate.
It has also been advocated that in view of the poor prognosis associated with most cases of SNOC, induction chemotherapy followed by concurrent chemoradiotherapy should be considered primary treatment. A series of 7 patients treated with 3 cycles of platinum and 5-fluorouracil followed by radiotherapy with concurrent platinum showed a 2-year overall survival of 64%.
Poor prognosis, it is making like to do the induction chemotherapy followed by CCRT and considered as a primary treatment in case of poor prognosis, and wherein you can use a platinum and 5-fluorouracil, that is platinum and 5-fluorouracil followed by radiotherapy or CCRT. It is also giving good results. So by this we understand the sinonasal undifferentiated carcinoma grossly. So thank you for watching ENT Student.